He certainly has voiced his support for a government shutdown, saying it'll allow the Trump White House to go further with its agenda. And so, as soon as the American public starts feeling the pain of this, that's really when the Democrats are going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure, either to keep going because people will be rightfully frustrated, or to back off and say, all right, that's fine, we'll keep the government open, please stop firing people. And so it's really a difficult situation to get out of.
Now, tonight in the United States, Vice President J.D. Vance has blamed a US government shutdown on the Democrats.
Reality here, and let's be honest about the politics, is that Chuck Schumer is terrified she's going to get a primary challenge from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The reason why the American people's government is shut down is because Chuck Schumer is listening to the far-left radicals in his own party because he's terrified of a primary challenge.
Well, J.D. Vance there blaming internal politics within the Democratic Party, but he also admitted that he could not say for certain just how long the shutdown would last, and that if it continued for weeks, then people would be laid off. So what could bring the shutdown to a close? And will Donald Trump try to use it to his political advantage? Let's talk to Alison Dagnes, Professor of Political Science at Shippensburg University in Pennsylvania. Good evening to you, Alison.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to talk more about those political arguments in a moment. But first, just explain what this US government shutdown actually means.
Right now, the Republican Party in America controls both the legislative and executive branches of our government, which means they have most of the power, but not all of it. And it takes 60 votes in the United States Senate to pass a funding bill, and the funding has run out of the government. And so the House did pass the funding bill, and now it has gone to the Senate. The Republicans are in the majority, but only by 53 votes. They were able to get 3 Democrats to vote with them, but it still fell short of the 60-vote threshold, and therefore at midnight last night, the government shut down.
And what does that mean in practical terms? Are we seeing all government offices closed, all public bodies? I mean, how big an effect is it having?
It's about 750,000 workers every day will be furloughed, meaning that they will not be paid and they likely will not go to work. There are some obvious exceptions to this because you can't just shut down all security and all important offices. So law enforcement, border protection, immigration enforcement, all of those officials will continue to operate as usual. It's the social services, agencies, the national parks and museums and monuments, a lot of the programs that help the neediest among us, as FDR would say, those are the ones that are going to be shuttered. And as it turns out, the Republican the things that the Republicans admire the most happen to be the things that are going to be staying open, and the issues and the offices that the Democrats support the most, those are going to be the ones that will be shuttered. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily they're going to close forever. And in fact, when the government does open again, which it will, there was a law that was passed the last time there was a shutdown in 2018 that said everybody will get back pay. But until then, it really puts a lot of people who work for the federal government in a very difficult bind.
So they're not getting paid at all?
They are not getting paid at all, unless they are deemed an essential worker. If they are an essential worker, of some sort of frontline worker, then they will be, but otherwise, no.
So we heard there J.D. Vance accusing one of the senior Democrats of being responsible for failing to agree the budget, saying that that the Democrats therefore are responsible for this. I mean, is he right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a lot of finger pointing on both sides. He is correct that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has been under a lot of pressure especially from the base of the Democratic Party, because back in March, when we hit this funding deadline first, he did cave and he said, "All right, we're going to keep the government open." And Democrats, I think, were frustrated by that, and so they've been putting pressure on him to do something more. And this is definitely more, but this time it's not just Charlie Schumer's decision. Almost all of the Democrats in the Senate, and certainly all of the Democrats in the House, are saying we just can't we can't play ball anymore against the Republican side, because they made promises back in March that would keep the government open, and then they went back on those promises. And so there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of blame going around, and that is one of the larger problems they have to deal with.
And there seem to be threats that some of those federal workers could actually start losing their jobs. I mean, that was the threat from the White House spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt. Donald Trump already threatening irreversible mass layoffs. Is there a sense in which the Trump administration is seeing this as an opportunity to get rid of a lot of federal workers altogether?
I think that's exactly it, Carol. I think that he certainly has voiced his support for a government shutdown, saying it'll allow the Trump White House to go further with its agenda. And so as soon as the American public starts feeling the pain of this, that's really when the Democrats are going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure, either to keep going because people will be rightfully frustrated, or to back off and say, all right, that's fine, we'll keep the government open, please stop firing people. And so it's really a difficult situation to get out of. It's easy to get into, harder to get out of.
Yeah, and I mean, at the moment, it's only been going for less than 24 hours, as you pointed out. And last time this happened, some 7 years ago, it went on for weeks.
Yes. And from what I have read, those on Capitol Hill feel that this could likely go on longer, mostly because the only ways to get out of this are for the Republicans to agree to increase healthcare funding, which is really the primary issue here. And they've said that they're not going to do that. And the only other way is if the Democrats cave and vote for the bill to open the government, which they've said they're not going to do, in which case we have a bit of a standoff. And we don't really know how long this is going to go on, but it certainly could be. It will be days. It will likely also be weeks.
So what are the next steps in this then? Are there any fresh attempts to change the budget? Because it seems as though neither side would agree to various different elements of the budgets. I mean, are there any initiatives to try to put together some kind of funding proposal that might actually resolve the impasse?
I think that one of the troubling things right now is that under normal circumstances, both sides would quietly agree, all right, we need to get to the bargaining table, we need to speak with one another. But these days, we're so deeply divided that there really is very little incentive to do that. There isn't the will on Capitol Hill to try and compromise with the other side. And especially when the Trump White House is saying, this is terrific, let's just keep this going and we'll fire everybody, then it would be incumbent upon the Democrats to move their positions, since the Republicans are being very clear in stating that they're not going to.
And I mean, is there any sense in where the public is on this, who they're blaming for this?
Right now, it's early days. And I think that when the rubber meets the road, when the social safety net programs start to lose enough money that it really affects a lot of children and a lot of the needy and a lot of the elderly, then I think we will more clearly be able to see who is going to be blamed. The Democrats feel strongly that because the Republicans control Washington, that they will be blamed. But the Republicans feel equally strongly that because the Democrats have said we're not going to vote to open the government, that they will be blamed. But I think that a lot has to happen before we know really how the American public feels about all of this.
Alison Dagnes, Professor of Political Science at Shippensburg University in Pennsylvania. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much.